This very spot was the last known whereabouts of Judge Joseph Crater in 1930. Judge Joseph Force Crater was appointed by then-Governor Franklin Delano Roosevelt to be on the New York State Supreme Court. Well, that summer he was vacationing with his wife in Maine when he received a phone call to come back to New York City to straighten those fellows out. Judge Crater came back only to meet his mistress, a showgirl named Sally Lou Ritz, and they proceeded to go to Atlantic City, New Jersey. Well, Judge Crater came back to Maine, and then 2 days later, on August 3rd, came back to New York, where he went to his apartment to destroy several documents. He met his law clerk, who cashed 2 large checks, and then would bring 2 sealed briefcases back to Judge Crater's apartment. On August 6, 1930, Judge Crater dined here at Billy Haas's Chop House, 332 West 45th Street, with Ritz and a lawyer friend named William Klein. After dinner, Judge Crater came out of the restaurant to the street and hailed a taxi cab, where he was never seen from again. To this day, no one has solved the disappearance. What do you think happened to Judge Joseph Crater?
Imagine stepping into a taxi and never being seen again. Enter the world of Joseph Force Crater, a man who vanished without a trace. The 6th day of August in the year 1930 would become a date forever etched in the annals of unsolved mysteries. On this seemingly ordinary summer's day, a man of high standing and considerable influence stepped into a taxicab, and as the city lights of New York blurred into the night, he was swallowed by the shadows, never to be seen again. Joseph Force Crater wasn't just any man, he was a New York State Supreme Court justice, a position of prestige and power, the kind that often attracts scrutiny, and scrutiny he got. At the time of his disappearance, Crater was deeply embroiled in a corruption investigation, a scandal threatening to taint the city's legal institutions with the brush of deceit and graft. But on that fateful August evening, all this seemed far away. Crater, having dined at a local chop house with friends, hailed a taxi. His companions recall his parting words, casual, unremarkable, a simple good night. But it was a good night that would linger, grow heavy with portent, for it marked the last time anyone would see Joseph Force Crater. In the days following his disappearance, a chilling realization dawned. Crater had not simply gone away for a while. He had vanished, as if plucked from existence by an unseen hand. The city he had served, the courts he had presided over, the friends he had dined with, all were left in stunned silence, grappling with the inexplicable reality of his absence. Just like smoke, Crater disappeared into the New York City night, leaving behind a trail of mystery and intrigue. Who was Joseph Force Crater, the man at the heart of this mystery? Joseph Force Crater, born in the heartland of Pennsylvania, was a man of intellect and ambition. His journey to prominence began with his education at Lafayette College, followed by Columbia University. Amidst the hustle and bustle of student life, he honed his skills, preparing himself for a life in the law. The young man from Pennsylvania was not just a scholar, he was a charmer too, winning the heart of Stella Mance Wheeler. The pair tied the knot, their lives interwoven in a dance of love and companionship. Crater's ambition didn't stop at the university gates. His eyes were set on higher goals, the loftiest peaks of the legal profession. His diligence and knack for the law did not go unnoticed. In a move that solidified his standing, he was appointed as a justice of the New York Supreme Court. The man behind the gavel was none other than Governor Franklin D. Roosevelt, a figure of equal stature and influence. With this appointment, Crater was thrust into the limelight, his name synonymous with justice and integrity. He was the embodiment of the American dream, a man who had risen from humble beginnings to sit at the highest echelons of the judicial system. But beneath the surface, things were far from perfect. Crater's professional life was riddled with suspicious financial activities and questionable interactions. His dealings with showgirls raised more than a few eyebrows, hinting at a life far removed from his public persona. And then he stepped into a taxi. The man who had risen to such heights, the man who held the scales of justice in his hands, vanished without a trace. His disappearance from the face of New York was as mysterious as the life he led. A man of stature and influence, Crater's disappearance sent shockwaves through the city. Behind the respectable facade, a scandal was brewing. As Justice of the New York Supreme Court, Joseph Force Crater was a man of influence and power. But beneath the surface, his life was a tangled web of suspicious activities and questionable connections. Crater's financial dealings were shrouded in mystery. His bank records revealed a series of large cash withdrawals, totaling to over $20,000. This was an enormous sum for the era, equivalent to nearly $300,000 today. The timing of these withdrawals, just days before his disappearance, only added to the intrigue. Was this money a desperate attempt to pay off some unknown debt? Or perhaps a bribe to secure his safety? We may never know. But the intrigue didn't stop at his finances. Crater was known to frequent the glitzy nightlife of New York City, where he rubbed shoulders with showgirls and performers. Among these were Sally Lou Ritz and June Bryce, two women whose names would become inextricably linked with the Crater mystery. Sally Lou Ritz was a stunning showgirl, known for her captivating performances. Crater was reportedly smitten with her, and the pair were often seen together at the city's most exclusive venues. June Bryce, on the other hand, was a rising star in the theater world, and her interactions with Crater were less clear-cut. Yet both women were drawn into the scandal in the wake of Crater's disappearance. Their names splashed across newspapers as the city clamored for answers. As the details of Crater's life began to emerge, it became clear that his public image was a carefully constructed facade. Beneath the surface was a man embroiled in a world of shady deals and illicit relationships. His actions were about to set in motion a chain of events that would shake New York City to its core. Crater's life was not as straightforward as it seemed. His dealings were about to cast a long shadow over New York City. As the city reeled from Crater's disappearance, the search for answers began. The New York State Supreme Court justice, who had stepped into a taxi and vanished into thin air, left a city and a nation grappling with questions and thirsting for answers. The initial investigations were marked by a palpable sense of urgency, tinged with a growing frustration. The authorities were faced with a daunting task: the mysterious disappearance of a prominent figure who had left no trace behind. The city was on edge, the public's reaction a mix of disbelief, fear, and morbid curiosity. Every stone was turned, every lead, however faint, followed. The investigators left no stone unturned. From the financial records that hinted at suspicious activities, to the showgirls who had shared the limelight, and perhaps secrets with Crater, everything was scrutinized. Sally Lou Ritz, June Bryce, and other women linked to him were pulled into the vortex of the investigation. Their lives turned upside down in the hunt for the elusive truth. Yet, as days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, the leads dried up. The trail that the investigators were desperately trying to follow seemed to dissipate like a wisp of smoke. Frustration seeped into the ranks of the investigators, a grim testament to the seemingly insurmountable challenge they were facing. The city held its breath, waiting for answers that seemed increasingly elusive. The investigation was like a puzzle, a jigsaw with missing pieces. The authorities were grappling in the dark, trying to piece together a picture from fragments, hoping to find that one clue that would lead them to Crater, that would help them unravel the mystery. Yet, every new piece seemed to complicate the picture rather than complete it. Despite their best efforts, the authorities were no closer to finding Crater or understanding his disappearance. The man who had stepped into a taxi and was never seen again had left behind a mystery that would continue to baffle and intrigue for decades to come. Crater's disappearance was not just a personal tragedy, but a political scandal too. It sent shockwaves through the very heart of New York City's political landscape. As whispers of corruption started to echo through the hallways of power, the city's seemingly untouchable elite began to feel the tremors of uncertainty. The first domino to fall was Mayor Jimmy Walker. A charismatic figure, Walker was known for his flamboyant lifestyle and his fondness for Broadway showgirls. He was a man of the people, a champion of the working class, but his reign was not without controversy. When the Crater case blew open, it brought with it a storm of scrutiny that Walker could not weather. Walker's connections to Tammany Hall, the Democratic political machine that had ruled New York City for nearly a century, were well known. Tammany Hall was notorious for its corruption, its patronage, and its ability to control elections. But with the Crater case, it found itself in unfamiliar territory. The public's trust was shaken, and Tammany Hall's grip on power began to loosen. The scandal also brought about a renewed focus on corruption within the city's judicial system. Crater himself was a justice of the New York Supreme Court, a position of significant influence. His disappearance and the suspicious financial activities that came to light in its wake raised uncomfortable questions about the integrity of the city's courts. In the end, the fallout from Crater's disappearance was monumental. It marked a turning point in New York City's political history, a moment when the curtain was pulled back to reveal a system riddled with corruption. It was a wake-up call, a signal that change was needed, and it would come, though not without a cost. Crater's disappearance had far-reaching effects, shaking the very foundations of New York City's political scene. His story serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked power and the lengths to which some will go to protect it. With no concrete answers, theories and speculations began to swirl. The enigma of Joseph Force Crater's disappearance has fueled a multitude of hypotheses over the years, each one more intriguing than the last. Yet, the lack of solid evidence has left each one shrouded in a cloud of uncertainty. One theory that gained traction was that Crater had met with foul play due to his involvement in corruption scandals. Some believed he was silenced to prevent him from spilling secrets about the underbelly of New York City's political scene. Despite its popularity, this theory crumbled under scrutiny. There was no direct evidence linking any of the city's power players to Crater's disappearance, leaving this conjecture in the realm of pure speculation. Another hypothesis suggested that Crater voluntarily disappeared, escaping the mounting pressure of the corruption investigation. This theory painted a picture of a man on the run, leaving behind his life and responsibilities in a desperate bid for freedom. Yet there was no trace of him in the years that followed. No sightings, no contact, nothing. This left the theory hanging by a thread, tantalizing but ultimately unprovable. The involvement of the showgirls in Crater's life also fueled several theories. Some speculated that a love affair gone wrong had led to his disappearance, while others suggested that he might have been a victim of blackmail. The women linked to him were investigated, but none of them provided a convincing link to his vanishing act. The most outlandish theories ventured into the realm of the supernatural, suggesting alien abductions and portals to other dimensions. While these ideas added a dash of excitement to the narrative, they remained firmly in the realm of science fiction, with no basis in reality. Each theory had its proponents. Each one claimed to hold the key to the mystery, but the truth remained stubbornly elusive. The lack of concrete evidence left all these theories as mere conjectures, fascinating to consider but impossible to prove. In the absence of facts, speculation ran wild. But the truth about Crater's disappearance remains elusive. As we delve deeper into this labyrinth of theories, we are left with more questions than answers. The Crater mystery continues to baffle, intrigue, and captivate us, a testament to the enduring allure of the unsolved. Almost a century later, the mystery of Joseph Force Crater continues to captivate. Even today, the name Joseph Force Crater is synonymous with enduring enigmas and unsolved mysteries. This esteemed figure, a respected lawyer and a New York State Supreme Court justice, stepped into a taxi one summer night in 1930, only to vanish into the ether of New York City, leaving behind a trail of intrigue, scandal, and speculation. His disappearance remains one of the city's most infamous unsolved mysteries, a chilling narrative that continues to grip the collective imagination. The eerie circumstances of Crater's disappearance, shrouded in mystery and speculation, continue to provoke endless fascination. The case has woven itself into the very fabric of New York City's history, serving as a stark reminder of a darker time when corruption cast a long shadow over the city's institutions. Even as the decades have rolled on, the allure of this enduring mystery has not diminished. It continues to be revisited by investigators, historians, and mystery enthusiasts alike, all drawn to the tantalizing puzzle that Crater left behind. Theories abound, from the mundane to the outrageous, yet none have been able to fully explain what happened that fateful night. The Crater case remains a testament to the elusive nature of truth, a ghost story of sorts, a specter that continues to haunt the collective consciousness of New York City. It serves as a reminder that sometimes reality can outstrip the wildest fictions, leaving us with more questions than answers. And so the story of Joseph Force Crater persists, an enigma wrapped in a riddle, forever etched into the annals of unsolved mysteries. It's a tale that continues to captivate, to intrigue, and to baffle, a story as enduring as the city itself. Crater stepped into a taxi and was never seen again, leaving behind a mystery that continues to baffle and fascinate.